Hi, I'm Dave Allen. I'm a actor, producer, writer, director, DJ, model. I'm basically do everything in the performance world, and I'm happy to be here today with Keith Andrew on the Keith Andrew Network.
The whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them you can still amount to something.
I'm from New England, which is where I still live. I grew up there always as a performer from a very young age, and I do that professionally full time now. I have my own production company, which I'm starting up, and I'm hoping very soon to start making feature films with my production company out here on the East Coast. My ultimate dream would be to create our own Hollywood out here, as opposed to it only happening in California. So,
No, absolutely.
anything else I should tell the people?
Oh, go ahead. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I just asked if there was anything else I should tell the people about who I am, or
Oh, that's completely up to you. I do have some great ideas I'd like to talk to you about off the air.
sure.
But you
Sure.
mentioned your own production company. So the next question, actually the same question I was going to ask you is, what attracted you to begin your career as an actor, and what attracted you to begin your career as a producer?
That's a good question. I think as an actor, I just always was kind of wild and goofy, maybe a little weird. And I just really enjoyed, well, I always loved watching movies, TV a little bit as well. But I always really enjoyed playing characters and playing out to an audience, to a crowd. And my parents, recommended maybe I should try out for on the stage. And then when I did and I heard the applause, that was when I knew I was where I was supposed to be. As far as wanting to produce my own thing, I learned through years of observing and participating that the intricacies of the business. And I had Dave, if you just bought some software and some cameras, you could do it yourself. And there's a lot of stories that I really would like to tell, Keith. And I feel like I could do it best by being the one, almost in control of it. Rather than try to write my story and hand it off to somebody else, they could produce something that isn't really what I wanted to be. You know what I mean? So if I can be the guy behind the scenes and maybe in front of the camera, both sides, like some of my heroes do, like Ben Affleck and Mel Gibson and guys like that have done. Even Quentin Tarantino puts himself in his own movies, that would be the best way for me to really give my own message and tell my own stories to the world. Be able to be on all sides of it.
Let me ask you this. Would you be interested, throwing a curveball, would you be interested in telling my story?
Yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah, I would. Your story, as a matter of fact, inspires me personally. So much so that I was gonna do whatever it took that I could come and be a part of what you're trying to do. So.
No, I appreciate it. And actually, while we're on the subject, I'd like to invite you, your wife, and your family to be a part of the Keith Andrew Network holiday episode. That's December 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Zoom. So if you want to add that to your calendar, you guys are more than welcome to.
Most definitely. Yeah, we'll be there.
No, absolutely. So the next question I want to ask you is, what is the biggest change you want to make in your acting career and producing career?
The biggest change, I really just the amount of people that I can reach. I do have a lot of followers, I guess. I don't know, a lot compared to most normal people, I suppose, on my Instagram and my Facebook and everything. But I wonder how many actually look at what I post or watch anything that I post. And I really want to touch people like worldwide. It's not so much for me about being famous. It's or being recognized. I still like to go places and blend in. I just feel like what I have to share with the world is something that needs to be seen and heard from the world, you know? And so that's my biggest change is I'm trying to get audience that's top level.
Yep, I agree with you. And as we're talking, and you can hear Christmas music in the background because the whole month of December and in January, why not? Because January is pretty boring. It's going to be the holiday theme of the Keith Andrew Network. We get to talk about that in a couple minutes.
Sure.
But the first question I want to ask you is, what were some of the best advice you gotten from actors and producers?
Okay, well, this one might be a little bit technical, but it's something that I've carried with me all the time, and I can see it in my own performances. A lot of my stuff has been recorded. Is try to forget about acting. Don't act. If your character needs to be sad, angry, excited, scared, don't act scared. Don't act angry. Don't act sad. You need to make yourself somehow in your mind actually feel that emotion, and the camera will catch it. The camera will pick it up when you're really feeling it. Otherwise, because the camera captures so much more than we can show on a stage or even face to face in person, it looks like overacting or bad acting if you're trying to perform. So you need to be as real as possible. If you in that moment aren't really that upset, it's okay, because they're going to gather your real, true emotion. You get yourself mentally where you want to be, showing it, actually being it. That's probably the best advice I have for any actors, especially on camera.
And doing a follow-up question about that, how comfortable are you speaking in front of a group of strangers?
I've become very comfortable with it. I don't know. I even for this today, and gratefully tell the audience that I think it was on my side that we had a bunch of technical difficulties. So during that time, I became so overwhelmed to fix the computer glitches that I kind of lost all the nervousness of doing the interview. But I still get the pre-show jitters, and I miss a show as well, you know? So I still get, but once I get started, like even right now, I feel perfectly calm. So it's just getting those first few lines out.
No, I agree with you 100%. Now, it's either due to the solar flares that's been happening, people screwing around with the internet. Actually, the internet, I messaged you earlier, we didn't have Wi-Fi, you know, that's Optimum. Optimum didn't have internet for the past 2 hours, so that might have something to do with it. But you can look at any excuses, but there is. You know, actually, it wasn't an excuse. We didn't have internet. But I don't want to do remote for the rest of my life because I want to sit down and actually work with people in person. Step in progress. But as you said, you know, going back to what you said earlier, today you have the technology, you have the software, you can do pretty much everything Sony, maybe not on the same scale as Sony and Microsoft, but at least you can put your own spin on it.
Right, and that's very important to me for sure.
By no stretch of imagination, and yes, I am reading questions off a card. By no stretch of imagination am I on the same level as Jimmy Fallon or Bill Maher or Bill O'Reilly, but with a disability, I'm showing you what I can accomplish. Now, with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about disabilities.
Sounds good.
Back from the quick commercial break, the next thing I want to talk to you about is disabilities. Besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with learning disabilities, and have you had some of your own struggles?
So I'll start with others first. A lot of people, as far as the performance world goes, there are a lot of people that have, I guess you could give that label of disability, but I prefer not to use that. But, I guess it would fall under the great umbrella of being disabled. But like you, they choose not to let that define them or hold them back. And so we could be on a set or behind the scenes on a stage, and they would let me know, oh, by the way, I have this or I have that. It's like, really? I never would have known if you didn't tell me. And likewise with me, in kindergarten, it was discovered that I had Tourette syndrome pretty severely. So severe, in fact, that they told me that I would never be able to drive a car and that most likely I wouldn't be able to graduate from public high school. And I didn't agree with that. I ignored that, didn't use that as an excuse to fail. I graduated high school. I got my driver's license as soon as I was 16. But at the age of 16, I also became a type 1 juvenile diabetic, which meant that I was required to watch my diet, check my blood sugar, take insulin. It was really challenging. And my mentality at the time was, I already have this one chronic condition. Now I have another. I didn't handle it very well at first. I became very depressed. But I was able to snap out of it. And it's crazy, especially in the entertainment community, how many people are sensitive to issues like that. Because everybody wants to see everybody else do well and succeed. Because if the guy beside me can't be doing well, then why should I expect myself to be doing well? So I've taken those two things and I've been able to still get very close to my dreams. And just like you're trying to tell everybody to do, thing hold me back, not give up regardless of circumstances or other people's opinions or ideas, to just prove that it doesn't matter what you have against you. If you really believe in yourself and your dreams, that you can get there.
No, I agree with you 100%. Going back to high school, I'm the same way. I graduated with an IEP diploma. Well, pretty much what an IEP is, it's individual educational program. It's not a normal diploma, and you pretty much wipe your ass with it. It's pretty much it's saying, hey, congrats, you took the classes, but you need to, you're out. But you don't have a GED, and it's not a normal diploma, theoretically. So, and yes, I do fall under the spectrum of being retarded because I read and learn at a slower level. Because, like, I'll give you an example. You read a script. For you, you can do it. For me, you have to break it down. You have to read it over about 3 or 4 times till it sinks in. Because I learn at a slower pace, they classify me as that. So I wanted to show people, hey, if that's what you think of me, I'm going to show you with a disability. Look at what I'm able to accomplish. For 10 and a half years, and I believe, now looking at my binder, I have so many of these. You are episode 1067. That's right, 1067 episodes. I taught myself how to do this from having my head way up my ass. Because, I give you an example I'm talking about. 10 years ago, I didn't want to be seen. So what you saw on the camera that reflects in, it's what you saw from season 1. Obviously, that wasn't a good idea for my part, but it wasn't about me. It was about the guests. Someone came across my brother and said, oh, we came across your brother's show. It's really interesting. Why is he hiding in the corner? And I said, I don't want to be seen. Yeah, but you're telling people you have disabilities. You need to put yourself out there. So I took myself from a tiny little box in the corner to, okay, I bought a HD camera. And then I used Skype recorder. And I dressed professionally. Obviously, I did from the beginning. I don't have to decorate my brother's bed anymore. So you sort the process from June 10th, 2013, all the way up to now. You've seen a progress from someone who was I still butcher people's names. That's why you guys introduce yourself before we go on the air. Um, to working at a slow pace, but making it look professional. So if I can do it, you can do it too, even though it takes time. Would you agree?
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and I'm proud of you. I mean, we just met recently, but I'm very proud of you and what you've done. And tell me if you can relate to this, but wasn't times that other people tried to convince you that you couldn't do it? You just needed to not listen to them and just follow your own heart and your own belief in yourself. Isn't that true?
No, I agree because I'm the youngest out of four brothers and one sister. My brother before me, I wish I had a dollar for every time I said this. He went to college. He has a BA. He can work in broadcasting if he wants. And he's like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, go talk to your brother, go talk to your sister. They can point you in the right direction. And I said, what about me? What about you? You piss people off. You don't shut up. You antagonize people. You're not qualified. You can't read. And I'm like, well, you're not qualified. So I said, screw it. I'm going to show you I can create something for myself and turn it into something. And that's how the Keith Andrew Network got started. I got tired of saying, I want to work for the state. Can't work for the state. You can't read. You can't drive. And you're not educated. I want to do this. You can't do that. You're not educated. You're not qualified. You're not educated. You're not qualified. You know what? I'm going to show you that that doesn't mean jack crap. It is uncensored. That doesn't mean a damn thing. If you have the heart and passion to do what you love, I'm going to show you I will get there. Even if it takes a long time, I will get there one way or another.
And that's exactly what you're doing.
No, absolutely. And this is not about me, this is about you. But the next question I want to ask you, for people with disabilities who want to follow in your footsteps, what are some of the do's and don'ts that you would recommend?
Well, kind of on the same theme. Definitely do not listen to the negativity. Like Keith was just saying, there's going to be a lot of times that you might be told you can't do it. You can't do this because of this, or you can't do that because of that. And I've seen people without any disabilities also get rejected, also get told no. I've seen people with less talent, less experience get the roles that you think the ones that should have gotten didn't get. So, I mean, you're going to go and maybe you'll be told no 20, 50, maybe even 100 times, but all you need is that one yes. So I would just say, well, I guess that answers both ways. The do, don'ts. Do keep going. Do keep believing in yourself. Trying. And there's classes too. If you have a little bit extra money, you can take some classes. You can get some training. You can learn some of the more technical stuff, like I was saying earlier about the actual the feels instead of trying to act them out. So, I mean, you can do all of that too, but I really believe it all starts in your head and your heart. You have to know that you can do it regardless of anything else around you.
Now, I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions.
Sure.
I want you to be completely honest, and we're going to do to sit down with Keith Andrew if the internet doesn't go out or anything. But with that being said, the first question I want to ask you is, when you want to have someone, well, obviously you're a producer, so this is going to sound like an oxymoron. If you want to have a big name on your show and be in your production, you obviously have to pay them, correct?
Right, yes.
Now, how flip that around for what I'm doing? Do you agree or disagree that I should be paying people to be on my show?
I don't think you should. at this time. Now, if you are starting to make humongous profit, you might want to, but right now it's more about the message and it's more about everybody helping each other out. So at this time, I wouldn't. Now, when you have your own version of the Jimmy Fallon show, then you might might not get a lot of people that'll do it for free. But right now, I think it's more about the greater good and the message. It's not about the money at this point.
No, I agree. If I had sponsors and I had extra money, yeah, sure. But because I'm unemployed and I don't have money, it's kind of like, what are you doing? But if I'm ever on TV, that's a completely different ball game. But you're just first starting out. You're looking for people and want to support you, and you're helping me. And for an example, you're here. I'm giving you airtime. You're sharing your story. I'm sharing it everywhere, and that's great. But there's certain other people. I'm like, well, obviously you want to get paid for your time, but doesn't it kind of? I don't like bribing people. It's like, hey, I give you $30 to be on my show. Obviously, you don't care about the message. You just want the $30. Yeah. So obviously, later on, once I get more exposure, yes, that's a completely different conversation. But for right now, it's kind of like you're missing the point.
Right. Exactly. I agree with that.
Next question. Actually, I want to pass the show over to you. Do you have any funny stories that you would like to share? Any funny pranks? Any famous people that you met over the years or worked with?
I worked with Ben Affleck and Catherine Bigelow in their productions. It was only background, unfortunately. So I get to have lines with them. I met Travis Barker from Blink-182 because I play the drums too. And I basically was starstruck, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey man, I play the drums too, and you're like my hero, dude." And he goes, "Thanks, man." So, it's okay. I could tell you a funny story. Actually, when we were on the Ben Affleck movie, he was directing it as well as starring in it, which, is what I was talking about, my own dream. And I can't remember the actress's name, but he came out and everybody's it, and Ben's about to direction, and he looks up at her and he says, "Okay, so when I come in, I want you to notice me and then give me like this smile like expression." And I'm like, "Oh, he's a genius." Smile like expression, like that was the direction. So there it is, case in point again. And he's an Oscar winner. So if he can do it, we can do it. You just need to learn lingo like love smile expression.
No, absolutely. And actually, I'm going to throw this question out. Usually, we do this for off the record, but the internet is fading in and fading out. So I would make an exception for this one. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people? Being brutally honest.
I don't know how brutal I'm going to be, but honestly, you asked me, and I thought, it's been a little while since I've done an interview. Let me see what's going on. So I did a little bit of research. Saw what you meant, like I said, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I have to be on this guy because him and I have the same passion for people, underdogs almost, that are considered people who don't have a chance, proving to them that they do, so that was what made me want to come on. I guess the only thing that I'm upset about is that we've had technical difficulties and our internet is hurting our show. But all in all, I'm having a good time. You are, I can tell. I hope a lot of people see this, and I would recommend to anybody, if you feel that he and I do, about no matter who you are or what you have against you, that you can overcome and you can reach and achieve your dreams, then if you get the opportunity, come on this show and share your story and be an inspiration to more people.
No, absolutely. And if you don't mind me for asking, are you Well, obviously, one of the questions I am going to ask you is trying not to throw too many things out at the same time. Are you on TikTok, and do you have over 1,000 followers?
So I'm TikTok was the last thing that I made. So I haven't really used it yet. I've been told if I are, I'll become addicted. So um, as of right now, I don't have many TikTok followers. Um, I guess my most followers would be on Instagram. Um, and I guess I have the maximum friends allowed on Facebook as well. But I like using Instagram, Snapchat, and when Twitter became X, for whatever reason, my account got deleted. So I had to rebuild that. Now I have maybe two or three, and I had over 1,000 on Twitter before, but I can't recover that account for some reason.
Well, the reason I ask is if you're interested, we can do this redo of the first episode live on Facebook and Twitter. No, not Twitter. Facebook and TikTok, and we get to interact with the audience as well.
Yeah, we can set that up.
Yeah,
I would do that for sure.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but the last one I want to ask you is how can our fans and listeners get in touch with you?
So they can get in touch with me. My contact is very simple. Everything of mine at Dave Allen Actor. That's Snapchat, Twitter X, Instagram, and including daveallenactor@gmail.com for my email. So if you reach out to me on any of those, I will see it and I will do my get right back to you. And I'm always looking for people that want to learn, want to be a part of productions in the future. So.
Well, I do have some great ideas I'd like to talk to you about off the air. But wrapping up your interview, I'm looking forward to part 2. I'm looking forward to December 16th. And until then, if anyone who's watching, definitely leave a comment, follow. Our goal is to reach over 100 or more views. Definitely, you're obligated. If you're watching this, you have to leave a comment. But until then, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And I'm looking forward to part 2. Until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.